ആ ലിങ്ക് ഒന്ന് അയച്ചേക്കണേ. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to one more live episode with Neetus. And today's live is the IELTS Writing Precision Live. I'm Anne with you, and I'll be with you for the coming 30-40 minutes, wherein we will be dealing with our writing module. Okay, so we have been doing these sessions regarding the writing module from quite some time, from the last I guess around 5 to 6 sessions we have completed regarding the writing, and we have in the beginning completed the rubrics for writing, and then we started off with task 2, that is the essay writing, which is quite general for the academic as well as general candidates. We were taking the topic, and the title was how do we plan an essay, right? When you write an essay, which is a task 2 writing task, so how do we plan this essay? And last session we had discussed about analyzing the question, which is a first step. When you plan an essay, first thing what you do is first to analyze the question, and we had dealt with that. Today the second step, which is we are going to deal with or discuss with, is idea generation. So what do you mean by idea, and then how do you generate these ideas, which is a very important part of essay writing, right? Now I always tell something that first of all you should know what you are going to write, and then the point comes how you are going to write. When we know that when it comes to IELTS, any of the modules, you are being tested for your English language, right? Be it the reading, be it the listening, be it writing or speaking, you are being judged for your English language, right? So you have to project or display the best you can, right? And especially when it comes to speaking and writing, both of these modules are where the thing ideas come in, right? Because you should know what to speak or what to write, then you lead to that next step, which is how to speak or how to write. So that is very important. അതായത് നമുക്കൊരു in case you getting a essay statement in front of you, നമുക്കൊരു അതിനകത്തൊരു സെൻട്രൽ ടോപ്പിക്, ലാസ്റ്റ് ടൈം വി ഹാഡ് ഡിസ്കസ്ഡ്, അതായത് when you analyze a question, നമുക്ക് അതിനകത്തൊരു സെൻട്രൽ ടോപ്പിക് ഉണ്ടാവും which we are dealing with, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് സബ് ടോപ്പിക്സ് ഉണ്ടാവും. സോ വി ഹാവ് ടു ടേക്ക് ബോത്ത് ഇൻ ടു കൺസിഡറേഷൻ. നമുക്ക് ഈ കിട്ടുന്ന സെൻട്രൽ ടോപ്പിക്കിനെ പറ്റി നമുക്ക് എഴുതാൻ പറ്റിയ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ മാത്രമേ, നമുക്കത് ഓൾറെഡി നമ്മുടെ ബ്രെയിനിൽ വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ മാത്രമേ നമുക്കത് എങ്ങനെ എഴുതണം എന്നുള്ള ചിന്തിക്കേണ്ട ആവശ്യമുള്ളൂ, റൈറ്റ്? So that is the main thing, right? So that's what we are going to do today. We are going to deal with idea generation. So let's see what are the steps which are included in idea generation. What we are going to discuss today are first thing is like, what if you get a question in front of you, and what if you don't know, what if I know nothing, right? That is the first thing what we are going to deal with. Then we are okay, that is first thing what we are going to deal is what if I know nothing. Then second is what is a good idea? Is there a bad idea? Is there a good idea? And if it is there, then what is a good idea? Third, we are going to deal with, does ideation work? That means ideation, which is synonymous to brainstorming. That means ideation means getting ideas into your head. So how do we get that? Like when we conduct a meeting about something, we brainstorm. So what is it? Does it work? Fourth part is ways for good ideas. What are the methods so that you can have some good ideas in your head, right? These are some things which we are going to discuss today. So let's go the first point, that is what if I know nothing? What if there's a question in front of you? നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കിട്ടിയ ഒരു essay statement, അതായത് essay question എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ എപ്പോഴും essay statement ആണ്. essay statement സിംഗിൾ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് ആയിരിക്കാം, ഡബിൾ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് ആയിരിക്കാം, ആൻഡ് ദെൻ യു ആർ ഇൻസ്ട്രക്റ്റഡ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എന്താണ് അതിനെപ്പറ്റി എഴുതേണ്ടത്. For example, if it's advantage disadvantages essay, they will say give a single statement, double statement, discuss the advantages and disadvantages, write at least 250 words. ഇതായിരിക്കും നിങ്ങളുടെ ഇൻസ്ട്രക്ഷൻ. അപ്പോൾ എല്ലാ ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് എസ്സേയിലും അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജ് ഡിസഡ്വാൻറ്റേജോ അഗ്രി ഡിസഗ്രിയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പ്രോബ്ലം സൊല്യൂഷനോ നെഗറ്റീവ് പോസിറ്റീവ് എന്തോ ആയിക്കോട്ടെ, യു ആർ ഡെഫിനറ്റ്ലി ഗോയിങ് ടു ഗെറ്റ് എ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്മെൻറ്റ് which can be a social issue, social trend, general issue, general trend, something which is connected to the world, on which you have to convey your answers, which you have to write. That is your response. So until unless you understand that, so if you get a statement, suddenly you get a statement from somewhere out of the world and you feel like, oh, what if you are not able to understand anything? So what is the way out for that, right? Now generally when you don't know anything, how do we learn about something, right? The first thing is, when you are learning about something, right, you try to do a research, right? Whenever you are learning about something, you try to find out more things about it. You're curious to know, you research about it. That's what you have to do here. Whenever you practice is a key factor when it comes to any of the modules, especially writing. So whenever you're practicing, what I will suggest is that you go with real IELTS questions, right? You have various tutorials available. Okay, nowadays you just go on Google and you've got various types of questions. So majority of questions, maybe I can say, or most of the questions there are kind of made up questions, right? Or somewhere misreported. Like I have seen generally, when if somebody, a test taker who has given a test, and if I ask that person the next day or the same day what was the question, they are not able to phrase the question completely, especially writing or maybe speaking cue card. They are not able to phrase it because it's quite natural. After that 3-module test, when they give that test and when they come out of the test mode to a normal mode, they are not able to recollect the exact question or phrase it exactly. Remember, that is the thing. Maybe they are able to tell, oh, it was related to something related to advertisement, something about advertisement, it was something related to social media, something related to academics, but they're not able to phrase it completely. So when that is not done, a lot of misreported questions circulate around on the net, right? So that is something. So whenever you practice for your writing, you always make sure that you take real IELTS questions for practice, maybe from the Cambridge side, IDP, or maybe the British Council side. So okay, wherein you have got real IELTS questions, and you can see that they're not that difficult to understand. Okay, not difficult to get ideas into your head. That is first thing, right? Secondly, always be updated or always have a knowledge about the common topics, or you can say the hot topics, which are circulating in the IELTS, which are kind of, a lot of the questions in IELTS are a kind of repetitions, right? So they are repeated in a different manner, but the topics, questions mean topics are quite repeated. So there are a lot of common topics which are, or we can say hot topics for that particular picture, which are prominent during the IELTS exam. So that you should have a knowledge about that, and you should always know what they are. Like maybe the common topics are dealing with education, it can be health, right? It can be something related to development, globalization, and so on, right? Many are there, crime, technology, right? So there are some hot topics which you have to have a knowledge about, and then you take particular essays connected to this topic and practice accordingly. Okay, so when you practice, it definitely is going to help you generate ideas, and which somewhere in your real exam it is going to help you. Go to various small blogs, okay, or some articles. Go to any reputed website or a well-known website, like maybe any media website, you can say, for example, take BBC or take Times or anything like that, or CNN, anything like that, wherein they talk about social and general issues which are connected to the world. So when you read them, when you understand them, you are storing ideas in your brain, which is definitely going to be a part of you when you write your actual test. So that is how you should practice. So if you feel like you are planning to give your IELTS test and suddenly you look at a writing question or writing questions, and you know what, I don't know anything, nothing to worry. Practice can definitely help you. You need to just understand what to practice and how to practice. So like I told, always go for real IELTS questions, which are a part of all these reputed websites and well-known websites, trusted websites like IDP, Cambridge, and so on, Cambridge test papers and so on, or British Council, and then always understand the common topics. That will solve your problem of knowing nothing. Nothing which is a negative word can be converted into positive, right? Okay, so that is something, how to solve your nothing. Now, what is a good idea? Now, there is something called as a good and a, now these are antonyms. Okay, something which is good, something which is not good is definitely going to be bad. So good or bad. So are there ideas which are called good or bad ideas? Now there is no magical idea I believe. There is no such idea which, like, there's no something, whatever you are writing as a, what do you mean? When you write your topics, in that particular topics, when you're putting down your ideas, there's nothing like a magical idea, an idea which is going to give you better band. Nothing. Your idea has to align with the question. Whatever they are asking you, whatever they are asking, the moderator is expecting you, because there is, when you are going for task achievement or task response, you're always told that the answer should be correctly and completely given, right? It should be complete as well as correct. Last session I had phrased a question which was regarding loneliness. If you remember, I had quoted that, I had phrased that there is a problem, loneliness is a major problem which is in the society, especially among the elderly. So what are the problems and solutions for the same? Okay, explain the problems, describe the problems for the same, and also try to give possible solutions in 250 words. That was the question. So here the question says the main topic is what? Loneliness. The subtopic are, it is especially in the elderly. Now loneliness, I told, it can be a problem with any age group, but here we need to speak about loneliness among the elderly. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ വരുമ്പം, if you are writing the problems and solutions connect to generally loneliness, right? Ideas are generated only for loneliness, but not taking into consideration about loneliness among elderly. Okay, you are not giving relevant. You will not get the relevant ideas connected to that question. So the first thing, for whenever your idea is whatever is not right for the question, is definitely not a good idea. It is not something which is going to go with the essay. So drop it off. So what do you do? First thing, your idea, if it has to be a proper good idea, it has to be appropriate and relevant, right? Adayathu, it should be matching the question. Whatever is asked in your question, adine align cheyyunna aayirikkanam ningalude ideas. That is what they are telling you, right? So like I told, that generally when you read something or when you go through blogs or something, you will definitely understand, and you will definitely get an understanding of getting proper ideas for the proper topic, right? So your ideas has to be always appropriate, or you can say relevant. Secondly, you got an idea. Now we say that whenever you write para 1 and para 2, that is BP1 and BP2, body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2, we always say something, don't clutter your paragraph with a lot of ideas. Like, you write one thing in maybe 1 or 2 words, put a comma, put another, like 5 to 6 ideas you're giving, but you're not developing anything. That is not the correct way. So if your brain clicks and you get an idea, okay, regarding this topic, this is something which I get, this is an advantage regarding this topic, this matter, but you are not able to develop that advantage. Adane patti namakku oru idu, for example, advantages, it is very economical, whatever the matter is, right? It is very economical. ഇത്രയും നിങ്ങൾക്ക് മനസ്സിലായി, അതായത് നമുക്ക് കിട്ടിയൊരു ഐഡിയ ആണ്, ഈ പറയുന്ന സാധനം എക്സ്പെൻസീവ് അല്ല, എക്കണോമിക്കൽ ആണ്, എല്ലാവർക്കും എഫോർഡ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. പക്ഷേ ആ പെർട്ടിക്കുലർ പോയിന്റ് നമുക്ക് ഡെവലപ്പ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ല, അതിനൊരു എക്സാമ്പിൾ കൊടുക്കാൻ പറ്റുന്നില്ലെങ്കിൽ, പ്ലീസ് ഡോണ്ട് ഗോ വിത്ത് ദറ്റ് ഐഡിയ, right? So second point, what we are going to say, how to determine a good idea or right idea is, develop the idea with appropriate examples and explanation. Okay, you have to explain your idea, you have to elaborate it. So whenever you are getting an idea in your brain, okay, this is one topic, on this topic I can write this, you should be able to explain it, elaborate it, and maybe also give an example, right? If you're writing only one idea, because we always suggest, when you go for BP1 and BP2, go with 1 or maximum 2, don't go more than that. Maybe if it is your advantages, if it's your disadvantages, if it's a problem, if it's a solution, if it's a reason for agreement, if it's a reason for disagreement, positive or negative development, or maybe you're just discussing a view and discussing your giving a justification or point, adendum aikotte, keep it to 1 if you're really able to elaborate in a detailed manner and give an example, or keep it to 2 maximum if you're able to elaborate and give an example. Now when it comes to outweigh kind of questions, yes, the ratio definitely varies. Okay, advantages outweigh disadvantage, there definitely it varies. Then you can accordingly plan, right? So So don't clutter your paragraphs with lot of ideas which are not developed. If any underdeveloped idea or if an idea which is not developed, then it won't be a good idea, because your main thing is to answer the question very correctly, right? Third point, how should you get an idea? That is the thought process. You have got to write your task to 40 minutes, right? And you have to write 250 words minimum. This is your instruction. You have got 40 minutes. Within 40 minutes, last time I told you, when you plan an essay, you have to give at least 5 to 6 minutes for your planning, okay, or 7 minutes maximum. Sometimes people go for 10 minutes also. Don't go that much. Give 5 to 7 minutes for your planning, and towards the end you have to proofread your essay. You have to keep around 3 to 4 minutes for your proofreading also, right? That is what you do, okay? So now after that, what remains is a time when you have to write. So all these thought process happens in your planning period. All these has to develop, these ideas has to develop and come to your brain in those 5 to 6 minutes, 7 minutes which you're putting in for planning. അവിടെയാണ് നിങ്ങളുടെ ഐഡിയാസ് ഡെവലപ്പ് ആവുന്നത്. So it should be very quick and very rapid, right? You cannot take the whole day to think for a particular point, for a particular matter. So it should be quite quick, or you can say rapid. So all, if any idea generates in your brain which is very relevant or very appropriate for your statement, and if you are able to develop it completely, if you are able to elaborate the same into 2 to 3 sentences along with an example, or 3 to 4 sentences along with an example, and if it comes in your brain very quickly, then believe me, that is a good idea and you should go forward with that. Okay, that is something which you have to take care of. Okay, fine. Next one. Next, what we are going to deal with is ideation. Does ideation work? Which is also called as, you can say, brainstorming. Okay, brainstorming is nothing wherein you just in your brain you try to, whatever matter you have in your brain, you just try to weigh it in some manner and try to get the matter, the ideas, or the, what do you call, the how to develop the same. You're getting some plans, you're getting some schemes, okay, you're scheming or planning something, how to go forward with that. Brainstorming, like whenever we have a meeting, professional meeting, people come together and they say, you give me your suggestion, you give me your suggestion, okay, we discuss, and then, so that is called ideation. So does it work? That's a very complicated question, because there is a section of people who say it doesn't work, a section of people who say it does work, right? So what I will suggest is that you have got in your planning period, that is 5 to 7 minutes which you take for your planning, you don't have too much time, right? But definitely you need to put a couple of seconds to think, because if you don't think, then you're not getting your ideas, right? Like, again I repeat, what to write is first, then it comes how to write. So if you don't know what to write, you will never reach to how to write, right? So that what to write, which you say what to write, is very important, and that is what is called as where you get ideas. Okay, so yes, to an extent you can go for ideation, but not like in you just sit and think and you're not able to do anything. It's not you're going to think the whole of a thing. You are going to just generate, you are just going to generate ideas which should be written down for the essay. So yes, to an extent you can go for ideation. It's entirely subjective thing. If you feel like you look at the question and quickly you get some idea, and you are able to develop the same, and you are able to put examples for the same, and in that case you don't have to think anymore. Okay, like I told, there is nothing called a magical idea. If you think that point is in particular alignment with your question, please go forward with that, right? Now, what do we do for these ideas? Now, this much I told, like, if you don't know anything, you go and read, you go and listen, you go to blogs, okay? You try to go to various real questions from Cambridge or IDP or British Council sites, right? All these things you can do. Now, secondly, I told that there is what is a good idea, how do you develop the same. what do we do for these ideas ultimately? How do we develop this habit of getting ideas? The first thing what I feel is that whenever you are whenever somebody goes for practice is the main key. That is definitely there. You cannot just get up one morning and go and give a writing IELTS test and expect to get a 7.58 band unless until you are a expert or you are a native speaker. But still you need to know about topics, right? How much ever good you speak, if you're not able to understand a particular topic and if you're not able to generate ideas for the same, you won't be able to convey the same, right? So for a test taker who is going for the IELTS test, the first thing they have to make sure is that you have to come into a normal mode, right? And for that normal mode, when you practice, you get various questions, right? When you go to your test, always or when you're practicing also, adapt the mode of thinking like in a normal thinking mode. Don't think in the exam point of view only or the test point of view only. Imagine if you are asked, because the IELTS questions, you must be well aware that all are surrounding the general issue, the social issues or trends which we are well aware of. If, like I told, the loneliness thing, it is quite common thing in the society today. We all know about it. നമുക്ക് പെട്ടെന്ന് ഒരാളതിനെപ്പറ്റി ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് പറയാൻ ഇഷ്ടംപോലെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ കാണും അതിനെപ്പറ്റി. അതിൻ്റെ അഡ്വാൻറ്റേജസ് ഉണ്ടാവും, അതിൻ്റെ ഡിസഡ്വാൻറ്റേജസ് ഉണ്ടാവും, അതിൻ്റെ പ്രോബ്ലംസിനെ പറ്റി പറയും, അതിൻ്റെ സൊല്യൂഷൻസിനെ പറ്റിയും പറയും. ഓക്കെ, അതും കൊണ്ട് അതിനോട് നമ്മൾ എഗ്രി ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടോ ഡിസഗ്രി ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ടോ, അതിൻ്റെ കാരണങ്ങൾ എന്താണ്, നമുക്ക് ഇഷ്ടം പോലെ പറയാനുണ്ടാവും ഇൻ നോർമൽ സർക്കംസ്റ്റാൻസ്. ഹൗഎവർ ദ മൂമെൻറ്റ് you are put into a test mode with the same kind of question, we go blank. So here what we have to adapt a method is that you have to practice in normal mode, right? Wherein you think about a particular topic. Maybe it is connected to social media, or maybe connected to development of your nation or development of the world, or maybe is connected to something academics of the youngsters, or maybe technology related questions, right? Crime related questions, okay? Health related questions, which is all these topics are very common, right? So you need to think in that normal mode. Like ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു കാര്യം എന്നോട് സാധാരണമായിട്ട് ഒരാൾ ചോദിച്ചു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇതിനെപ്പറ്റി ഞാൻ എന്ത് പറയും? Okay, ഇതിനെപ്പറ്റി നിങ്ങൾ so go for the common ideas. Like the next thing is think of the most common ideas. Again I'll repeat, there is nothing called a hi-fi idea or something substandard, something which is magical, which is going to give you a better band, or something which is going to be little less than that, which is going to reduce your band. No, nobody is going to question your opinion there, nobody is going to question your idea there if it is a relevant one. It is a relevant and appropriate according to the question. Nobody is going to question why did you think like that. You can think like, because that is your opinion, right? So think of the most common things. Don't break your brain for thinking something which is out of the world, which is very uncommon, which is very unheard, right? Even a common idea, you may think like ഇത് എല്ലാവരും എഴുതുമല്ലോ, ഇത് ഞാനും കൂടി എഴുതാൻ ബാൻഡ് കുറഞ്ഞു പോകുമായിരിക്കും, ഇത് എൻ്റെ കൂടെ വരുന്ന ടെസ്റ്റ് ടേക്കേഴ്സ് ഒക്കെ ഇത് തന്നെയായിരിക്കും എഴുതുന്നത്, ഈ പോയിന്റ് തന്നെയായിരിക്കും അവരും എഴുതുന്നത്. എഴുതിക്കോട്ടെ, the moderator is not going to question you. അവരും എഴുതി നിങ്ങൾ എന്തിനും കൊണ്ട് ഇത് എഴുതി. No. Even if it's a very common thing, and if there are 50 people giving that test, all the 50 people have got that one idea in their paper, you are not going to be judged on that basis, on that ratio. If it is right, relevant, you have properly developed it, you have given a good example, you have used a good language, it is definitely going to be a proper and good idea. So you have, whenever the ways there are various methods, how to develop an idea that we generally tell when we go for the practice sessions with our batches. So there are various methods for generating good ideas, but the common two things I have taken, that whenever you are thinking and practicing, when you are practicing and when you are thinking for an idea, don't think in the test point of view, like if I write something like this, I'll get good marks or good band. No, think in a normal mode. ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ഇന്നത്തെ സാഹചര്യത്തിൽ എന്നോട് സംസാരിക്കാൻ, ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഒരാൾ സംസാരിക്കുവാണ് ഇൻഡിവിജ്വലായിട്ട്, അപ്പം ഞാൻ എന്ത് പറയും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എൻ്റെ അഭിപ്രായം എന്തായിരിക്കും, എൻ്റെ ഒപ്പീനിയൻ എന്തായിരിക്കും, ഇതിൻ്റെ നെഗറ്റീവ്സ് എന്ത് പറയും, അത് തന്നെയാണ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് നിങ്ങളുടെ എസ്സേയിലും എഴുതേണ്ടത്. സോ ലുക്ക് ഫോർ ദ മോസ്റ്റ് കോമൺ ഐഡിയാസ് ഓർ ദ മോസ്റ്റ് സിംപ്ലസ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് വൺസ് ടു ഗെറ്റ് ഗുഡ് ഐഡിയാസ്. സോ യു ക്യാൻ ഫോളോ ദീസ് മെത്തേഡ്സ്, റൈറ്റ്, for idea generation, as some of the things which I have told. So what we will do is that we will just take essay here, sample essay, which is going to, wherein we will look at how those ideas have come into the writer's mind. So what I have taken here is a topic on global warming. We'll just read the question first. Now, global warming is one of the biggest threats. Now, they are telling us global warming is one of the biggest threats. What threats to human face in the 21st century? Okay, and sea levels continue to rise at alarming rates. Right? So, what they are telling, global warming is one of the major problems, which we all know. Anybody who reads, like I say, anybody who reads a newspaper or watches the news or an idea about the environment, okay, or anything what is happening around the world will know what global warming is. It's a very central topic in the world. It is one of the biggest threats what humans are facing in this particular century. And what happens? Sea levels are continually rising at alarming rates, at a rapid rate. So the question is, what are the problems associated with this, and what are the some possible solutions? Right? So they have given two matters here. Global warming is an issue. That is an issue definitely. However, the sea levels continue to rise. Right? That is the main problem. What is they are telling? Sea levels are continuing to rise at alarming rates because of global warming. So tell us the problems connected to that and the solutions for the same. Right? So seaലുള്ള the സമുദ്രത്തിലുള്ള ജലനിരപ്പ് കൂടുമ്പോൾ, like when it rising, what are the problems connected to it, and then what are the solutions for the same? Very simple thing. Question നോക്കുമ്പോൾ it looks very heavy. Oh, global warming, international subject ആണ്. Sea levels continue to rise. Oh my god, what is this? So don't get in that mode, right? It is a very normal thing which we all know. ഇന്നത്തെ നമ്മുടെ, like, it's a common topic that it's too hot in Kerala nowadays, right? It's very hot. So somewhere it is connected to global warming again, right? അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളെല്ലാവരും സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ഒരു റെഗുലർ കാര്യം തന്നെയാണിത്. So let's see what the writer has written. The writer has started by writing, just give me one moment. Yeah. Climate change is among the principal dangers facing people this century. Right? That is the common, very prominent danger faced by the people of this century. And ocean levels are increasing dramatically. Okay? That means rapidly the ocean levels are increasing at a very rapid speed. This essay will first suggest that now we have been asked to discuss the problems because of this increasing sea levels and the possible solutions for the same. So this essay will first suggest that the biggest problems caused by this phenomenon are the loss of land, that is soil erosions, loss of land, and the flooding of homes. We are all aware of the floods which happened recently in our state and in various states which happened, right? Last year it was Himachal, previously it was in 2018-19 we had Kerala was a victim of that, right? So we are all aware of that, and during that time we had all discussed about the same thing. The homes were flooded with water, and we all were arguing that yes, global warming is one of the, because the ice is melting. Okay, how do you get an idea? Okay, you understand that the ice is melting, because of that the sea level is increasing and that water is coming to the land. Okay, that is what happens. So അപ്പം വെള്ളത്തിന് sea level rise ആവുമ്പം ആ വെള്ളം, when it comes to land, what are the major problems happening? We all know it's flooding of homes. നമ്മുടെ വീടുകളിൽ, അതായത് തീരപ്രദേശങ്ങളിൽ, the residences which are near the ocean or near the sea or something, what happens? Those houses or homes get flooded with water, right? That is something. Okay. Secondly, what happens? When the water from the sea, if its quantity കൂടി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, when the water is rising, when it's coming inside the land, what we will do? Seeing നമുക്ക് ലൈക്ക് കൂടുമ്പം ലാൻഡ് കുറയും. സോ വി വിൽ ലൂസ് അവർ ലാൻഡ്, റൈറ്റ്? സീയിൽ വെള്ളത്തിൻ്റെ ലെവൽ റൈസ് ആകുമ്പം യു ഹവ് ജസ്റ്റ് തിങ്ക് ഇൻ ദിസ് മാനർ. വെള്ളത്തിൻ്റെ ലെവൽ റൈസ് ആകുമ്പം കോമൺലി തിങ്ക് ചെയ്യണം, വി ഹാവ് ടു ജസ്റ്റ് ഇൻ റെഗുലർ മാനർ. കൂടുമ്പോൾ എന്ത് പറ്റും? ആ സമുദ്രത്തിലെ വെള്ളം ലാൻഡിലേക്ക് വരും. അപ്പോൾ അതിൻ്റെ അടുത്തുള്ള വീടുകളിൽ ഫ്ലഡ് വരും. വി വിൽ ബി ഫ്ലഡഡ് വിത്ത് വാട്ടർ. ദെൻ വാട്ട് ഹാപ്പൻസ്? അവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന വീടുകളൊക്കെ നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടു പോയി. It will be occupied by the sea, and because of which the land will become extinct, or there's a loss of land in that particular area. So that is what they are telling. It's a very common problem. It is a very common thing which we all know. നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാവുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ എന്നും നമ്മൾ ന്യൂസിൽ കാണുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളാണ്. So the problems are the loss of land and the flooding of homes, right? And what are the what are the solutions they are giving? And what they argue, if you want to bring this global warming, the heat which is accumulated in the atmosphere, that is global warming, right? Because of when the heat is accumulated in the atmosphere, what do? We have to reduce pollution, because pollution is another reason why this carbon dioxide is getting accumulated because of usage of fuels, right? So you have to reduce pollution, right? Secondly, when the water is coming into the land, you have to have provision to stop it, and that is what building flood protection, because floods do happen because of this. So you have to build flood protection, and you have to reduce pollution because of vehicles, because of which the heat gets trapped in the atmosphere. Okay, so this is the problem and this is the solution. ഇത്രയും നമ്മുടെ ബ്രെയിനിൽ വന്നു. വീടുകളിൽ വെള്ളം കയറും, ലാൻഡ് കുറയും. അപ്പോൾ അതിന് വേണ്ടി എന്താ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? നമുക്ക് ഫ്ലഡിങ്ങിനുള്ള വീടുകളിൽ വെള്ളം കയറുന്നതിന് നമുക്ക് എന്താ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത്? വി ഹാവ് ടു ബിൽഡ് ഫ്ലഡ് പ്രൊട്ടക്ഷൻസ്, റൈറ്റ്? വി ഹാവ് ടു ബിൽഡ് ദാറ്റ്, ആൻഡ് ദെൻ we have to reduce pollution reduction should be there. Now let's come to the paragraphs where they have explained the ideas. The foremost problems caused by climbing sea levels are that the land is being lost and people's residences are often flooded. So when the water comes to the land, when the sea is not able to keep the water, accumulate the water, the ice are melting, the water comes into the land, and as water levels rise, low-lying land is submerged. So the land which is low-lying, it gets submerged, or it gets നമ്മൾ പറയുന്നത് മുങ്ങിപ്പോകും വെള്ളത്തിനകത്ത്, and many countries become smaller, right? So countries lose their land which is covered by water, right? Furthermore, millions of people worldwide live in coastal areas. Of course, a lot of people who live in coastal areas, especially the fishing community, they live in the coastal areas, and if the sea rises by even a few feet, they are inundated, okay, with water, and lose their property. So inundated means overpowered. Somewhere they are overpowered by what? With water. They can't fight water, it's a natural thing, and then they lose their property, they lose their houses, they lose their lands. All is taken by sea, right? Then even if they go and search, it won't be there. So that is what they are telling. The houses get flooded and residences are lost, and because of that, the lands, the countries become, when the coastline is covered with, there's no coastline, the water is covered, water passes the coastline, what happens? Land becomes less and the countries become smaller in that, and people lose their property. So these are the problems associated to this, and they have given example, the devastation which happened in Japan. You can mention the floods which happened in Kerala. A lot of houses were flooded, people lost their properties, right? And all was because of the water coming from the sea, because of global warming, right? That was the problems. Now that's a very simple problem we have to. Now what is the solution they have given? Possible solution to these problems would be to reduce the amount of pollution being created, and to build flood barriers. If each person reduces their carbon footprint, the negative effects on environment will be reduced, which will mean that the water level will stop rising. Now, if you are aware of global warming as a term, you should know that it is because of the carbon dioxide which is trapped into the atmosphere, which has no place to, it is trapped inside, it has no place to go out. So what happens? The heat increases, and when the heat increases, so because of these lot of vehicles on the road, when the pollution rises, also this heat gets trapped. So furthermore, what happens is that flood defenses such as, okay, okay, so if each person, where was I? If each person reduces their carbon footprint, that means if they bring down the use of, to an extent, the vehicles, the negatives of environment will be reduced. That means the water level will stop rising. So what happens when because of these things, when there's no carbon dioxide, when there's no dioxide trapped in the atmosphere, okay, when the pollution will come down, the water level will definitely stop rising. The ice will not melt. Because of this heat which is getting accumulated in the atmosphere, this ice is melting. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ അത് കുറയ്ക്കണമെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് അറ്റ്മോസ്ഫിയറിൽ ഹീറ്റ് കുറയ്ക്കണം. അതിനുവേണ്ടി നമ്മൾ നാച്ചുറൽ ഹീറ്റ് നമുക്ക് കുറയ്ക്കാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല. അപ്പോൾ ആർട്ടിഫിഷ്യൽ മീൻസ് വഴി ഹീറ്റ് ജനറേറ്റ് ആവുന്നത് അറ്റ്മോസ്ഫിയറിൽ അത് കുറയ്ക്കണമെങ്കിൽ വി ഹാവ് ടു ബ്രിങ് ഡൗൺ പൊല്യൂഷൻ. അതായത് പൊല്യൂഷൻ കുറയ്ക്കണമെങ്കിൽ നമ്മൾ നമ്മുടെ യൂസേജ് ഓഫ് ദീസ് തിങ്സ്, ഫ്യൂൽ യൂസേജ് കുറയ്ക്കണം. ഫ്യൂൽ യൂസേജ് കുറയ്ക്കണമെങ്കിൽ വി ഹാവ് ടു ബ്രിങ് ഡൗൺ vehicle usage. So all these things are connected. So when this heat comes down, the melting will stop, and the melting will stop, the water level will stop rising. Okay, so that is how it is connected, right? Then second they are telling is that whenever floods happen, whenever these floods are happening, there can be solutions or there can be resources which can be done by the authorities for stopping this water from reaching these populated areas, right? When the 2018 the floods happened in our state, at that time even the areas which were much away from the sea, they were in water, right? So if they were not completely washed out, coastal areas were completely washed out, but we were not completely washed out, but coastal areas do wash out. So in that case, water should not reach these areas. We are not telling about the house which is near to the beach. It can be kilometers away. Water is very powerful. It can reach there and it can wash out everything, which happened in the tsunami, right? In 2002 tsunami also this time happened. So that has to be done, and they have given an example. Netherlands is one of the most populated areas in the world, and it has got the most vulnerable flooding. It is most vulnerable to the flooding, which is very delicate towards flooding, right? And they have successfully employed various defense systems, right, to stop that flooding. So these are the simple ideas which the author has developed, and then the author is concluding by telling that stemming the rising tides, okay, caused by increasing global temperatures, one of the foremost challenges we face, right? That means stopping the tides from coming into the houses, and this can lead to countries losing their land, and many of the world cities becoming very small, or they will just one day go underwater. It won't be available. It won't be. It will completely extinct. So the solutions for the same are what? What is? You have to protect your environment by going for flood prevention techniques and reducing the pollution, right? So this is what the author is. This is what the ideas the author is giving for these 2 points. Okay, so that is how. So now I have whatever we have spoken about idea generation is what I had to speak today. Next week when we are going for the writing, we are going to take another of the points which are going to develop to help your essay or plan your essay. So please, you all go with your practice, and I am winding here for today. Hope you have a great day. Goodbye.